Yes, against the popular belief, money is not a reward for solving problems. Welcome to this video where I invite you to take with me a study. But yes, money is simply a result of aligning yourself to certain laws. And to be specific, these are laws of connection. I love to call it the laws of relationships, because we can all agree that we have been created for the sole purpose of relationships. That is something that we can prove beyond doubt. Whether you want to consider vertical relationship with your source, who's God, or vertical relation or horizontal relationship with your fellow humans. In fact, some have gone ahead to suggest with proof that the quality of our lives is directly proportional to the quality of our relationships. Why is this the case? Because this is a law. See, just like gravity is a physical law, relationship is a spiritual law. And mind you, they are both spiritual and physical laws. But all these laws, they are all necessary to function on the earth. Let's not forget that. So we can agree, for example, that rolling a 200-liter drum of crude oil downstream is far easier than pushing that drum upstream. Now, you can choose to go the other direction of pushing it upstream, but just know this: fighting forces far greater than yourself will end up in failure. I can guarantee you that. Why? Because you're fighting gravity. By you pushing uphill, you are coming against gravity. So why not roll the drum or let the drum roll downstream, where you are obeying gravity? Now, the point I'm driving with this particular example is that we need to be able to predict the outcome of these laws without us first sweating to try it out. In fact, wisdom itself is to know the laws, to know the principles, so that you can be able to predict how your life is going to go based on observing or not observing those principles. And so for me, the first lesson that stands out in this is success is guaranteed when you are swimming with the current rather than swimming against it. Now, wait. I know you are saying, oh, there are times when we're supposed to go against the flow and relentlessly fight our way upstream. Yeah, in fact, as a matter of principle and one of some laws like the law of entropy, yes, that is possible. But we must always, as in, yes, I know there are instances where we have to find ourselves upstream, and that's why I'm quoting up the law of entropy. However, when it comes to finding the best way to serve our fellow humans while earning their trust, going with the current is always more effective and efficient. And going with the current is what I mean by you understanding this law of relationships. So by us trying to overcome the spiritual law of reality is just as futile as as fighting the physical laws of nature. In other words, you cannot start to jump up and refuse to come down. You're going to come down because you can't fight gravity. The same way is you understanding these laws of relationship. These are spiritual laws. So let's examine let's examine some examples of laws of relationship and understand where money comes from. Because the point I'm driving is money does not come, but money is not just a reward of solving problems. So in the very first book of the Bible, after God declaring all things being good, the first time he says something is not good is in regard to this very law that we are looking at today. He said, it is not good for man to be alone. It is not good for man to be alone. He needs a suitable connector. He needs someone like him to have relationship with him. So our lives, from just that statement, from that law, our lives are far better when we are relating with one another than when we are isolated. So we can go ahead and see that from that law, a husband and wife connect and they become one. And then in becoming one, they conceive children, and they would love to see that unity, that same oneness in them, in their family. In fact, the unity in that family is a reflection of their own unity. So and God is not different. To him, all of us humans are his children. So our connection and relationships echo his own unity, brings out his own unity. In fact, Psalm says it this way, that how good and pleasant is it when brothers live together in unity. It's like precious oil poured on the head, running down on the beard, running down on Aaron's beard, down upon the collar of his robes. It is as if the dew of Hermon were falling on Mount Zion. That is a picture of unity. That's a picture of perfect relationship. You see, you see how the picture is coming out. See how it is beautiful. So furthermore, when we move away even from that line, let's just observe nature. Let's just observe our world to understand this principle, the law of relationship, and see how it is where money comes from. You see, when we observe nature, we see this. The whole universe is a mirror of God's own unity and nature. Why? When things are connected together, when things are joined together, when things are bonded together, they reflect the nature of God. Let's examine elements, for example. The elements of nature, we use very few of these elements just as they are. The example that comes off my mind is like iron. This is, you see, there's little that's made out of pure iron, but we must be able to blend it with other elements. So when we blend it with carbon, which is another element, that is where we come up with steel. And so when we add on other few elements, then we get stainless steel, which is my useful for everything from the cutlery in your home to surgical instruments and beyond, just by joining, by binding, by adding, by making it relate with other elements. Yes, for example, we breathe in a mixture of elements, which is oxygen and nitrogen. And those days, before I thought about it, I thought oxygen, but really nitrogen is much higher. The component is much higher than oxygen. So we breathe more nitrogen than oxygen. But I'm not going to go there. Don't kill me. So let's just keep the flow of the principle that we are learning. So, for example, we enjoy furniture made out of wood, which is a complicated blend of many elements. And we use plastics extensively, which is a complicated hydrogen blend with other elements. So these elements themselves seems to be God's call for us, teaching us about connections and about relationships in nature. God is saying, you all, don't you see? There are over 92 basic elements, but to get something useful, you are going to have to learn to connect and bond them to one another. That there is a skill that we must develop, which is that ability to see how these elements can relate with one another. That is why I am saying money is not a result of solving problems. Money is a natural outcome of connections and relationships. Money is a natural outcome of connections and relationships. You see, from the principle we are learning, very little is useful from these basic elements alone. Think about it. Man, or we humans, we had to learn how to combine the elements that God gave us in order to make them more useful. Today, there are countless products that make our lives easier, make our lives healthier, make our lives longer, makes our lives more comfortable and more enjoyable. But almost none are made from these basic elements. Elements such as iron, carbon, maybe hydrogen, oxygen, sodium, gold, to name but a few. You see, but then my question to you, when was the last time that you went to supermarket and you ordered for hydrogen and you ordered for carbon and ordered for sodium? I know sodium chloride, you're going to talk about that as salt, but you do not order for sodium. You see, because you don't order for any of these things. Most of the things that we actually use are made out of, so for example, wood, plastic, steel, glass, alloys, and other complex compounds. So it is until when these things, there's a relationship, we intentionally found a way of relating, of making them relate to one another, that we produce things that are of necessity to us. Even water and air is made up of multiple elements. So, friends, God is giving us a message. Here he's telling us, let us learn to combine things in order to produce utility and value. Let us learn to combine. Let us learn this skill of combining things so that utility and value can come. In fact, I can say this. He is teaching us a principle that value comes from relationships. Value comes from connections. Value comes from bonding. Value comes from relationship. It can never come from you alone. It comes from relationships. Relationship is where more than one something is involved. So this is the basis of manufacturing and inventions. We all know that. I don't need that to repeat that. You see, the example, we all agree that there is no better way to sell eggs and milk than combining them into ice cream. Bring up ice cream and you're selling those things all the time, all the day. So to be successful as an entrepreneur, useful to millions of people and being able to get rich, you don't need to invent anything new. Just think of yet another way to blend, another way to mix, another way to combine two or more existing things. Even in our space as consultants and coaches, there's nothing new. You simply keep on looking at your own life experience and combining other principles so that you can bring out something new. So therefore, the point I'm saying, God intended us to find ways to blend, to find ways to bond, to find ways to combine, and to find ways to connect. That is what God expects from us. So therefore, money is a result of our ability to connect, whether things or with people. Money is a result of our ability to connect. By me putting out this video, it's not my attempt to be able to solve your problem. It's my attempt to actually be able to connect with you. As we go on, as you connect with me and I connect with you, that is where I can learn more about you and you can learn more about me. So money is already here. Money is in the pocket of other people. The question is, how are you genuinely going to connect with those people? How are you genuinely going to find a way to bond with those people? So how do you bind with them? So this is why business is critical to God. So God intended us humans to continue his act of creation through connecting things and bonding things. See, I could go on and on and on to prove to you this principle of connection, this principle of relationship, that this principle of connection is integral to creation. You cannot talk about creation without connection. You can't think about creation without connection. That is why from today onwards, do not think that money comes from just creation. No, money comes from, because creation is when you attempt to say you have created something that solves another person's problem. But creation and connection must join if money is going to come. So this is just another way in driving along nature. This is just another way of following like gravity. So let's consider letters, for example. You see, think about it. Letters, that is in English, A, B, C, D, E, up to Z, these are what join to syllables, and those syllables join to make, join later on to make up words that make up sentences. So in order for you to communicate, imagine just something as basic as communication comes from connection. You must connect the letters to the syllables, from the syllables to the words, the sentences. So you cannot communicate without learning how to connect those letters, without learning how to connect the syllables, without learning how to connect words. So if I need to learn your language, I must learn the alphabet. I must understand the letters. I cannot just say, okay, look, but I need to connect with you. No, we have to learn. We have to master there. I have to go through that process. So you cannot make money without learning how to connect. You cannot make money without learning how to relate with other people. So where money comes from is from that relationship. So we all think about music. We all enjoy listening to music, but what is music? What is music? Combination and binding of words with sounds and all these other things. You see, there are people who first they have this skill, and then this gifting and all this, and then they can bring this word, and then it goes with this sound, and then they sit in the studio, and then they create this magical tune. They create this magical sound that they hear. I tell you, music is powerful. You just listen to music, and it takes you to a realm that you don't understand. Why? It is because some people have mastered what we are talking about. So let's say you want to sing, but you don't want to learn how to combine words and sounds in a certain way. Please, you are not going to sing. You are not going to sing. You see, so we cannot say that music is a result of words. No, it's a result of connection. Those words, you must connect the words. That is why the same with money. You cannot just say that money is a result of solving problem, because then let's assume that you came up with the cure of cancer, but you cannot connect with people, so it's just on your table. It's going to be useless. It's a real solution, but because you cannot connect with people, it's now going to be useless and you're going to be broke. Bill Gates, after coming up with this invention, it is said that he wrote a letter to over 1,000 people, more than 1,000 people, informing them and inviting them to partner with him. I'm told only 11, I think 11 or 17, responded and took action, and all of them are billionaires now. I think the other rest, the 1,000 something, must be pinching themselves right now. The same with Steve Jobs. He's credited for his ability to connect. He went to Joseph Schooler, who was by then, I think, the CEO somewhere of Pep Scholar. And Schooler in his book talks about, said when Steve first approached him about leaving Pepsi and joining Apple, he was dragging his feet. He was saying, I think I'm not just ready for it. And then Job looked at his eyes directly and said, Schooler, are you going to spend the rest of your life selling people colored water? Or you're going to join me and change the world? That statement made Schooler connected, influenced Schooler to take action. The rest is history. Schooler joined him. You see, so that's the power of forming relationships, of connections and binding. And that is where real money comes from. That is where real money comes from. Yes, you see, and again, yes, I hope you get this. Because if we don't get this, this is where most of us as consultants and coaches and all this is the mistake we make. We spend all our time coming up with a course, coming up with a product, coming up with something, and we fail miserably in marketing and selling, which is, by the way, marketing and selling is all about connections and building relationships, building bonds. And this is where most consultants fail. So you think that money is a result of solving problems. So you come here with a very quote unquote a good solution, but then nobody knows about that solution because you can't connect. So it's not good for men to be alone. God said earlier in the book of Genesis, and this is a big picture, a big principle, I mean, in nature, more than just a precursor to Adam meeting Eve. This is a big statement that God is putting out. Why? Because if you want to punish man, take man to prison. You see, solitary confinement is not a reward. It's a torture. It is a torture. Why? Because we humans do not strive alone. Connection will never drive any of us crazy, but being alone, it does all the time. If you want somebody to run mad, let him be alone. So this connectivity principle is built into the world. The connectivity principle is built into the fabric of what makes our world moving. So to live successfully on earth, you must attune to this principle. To really come out successful in life, you must master this principle. I want you to internalize this principle into your business worldview. I want you to put this principle in its place in your business worldview so that you may build your connectivity capital. You see, your connectivity connection capital, your relationship capital is much more important than your problem-solving ability. Today, they say that your bank account is your personal brand. And I totally agree, because your personal brand is basically your story. So in other words, how many people connect with your story? If you mention Oprah Winfrey, immediately people connected to her story. If you mention any name, people have connected to their stories. So the principle is planted in the world and is firmly imprinted in God's blueprint for reality. It is the reality. There's nothing that we are talking which is rocket science. This is common sense. Connecting with other people yields far better life. This is a law that is intrinsically embedded in nature. There's no way you can remove it from nature. So you're trying to achieve prosperity or happiness or fulfillment while remaining isolated or with just some few people. It is as futile as an attempt to defy other natural laws like gravity and the rest. So God clearly wants us to connect with one another. He wants us to each one of us to be obsessively preoccupied with us serving one another through the building of communities. And I think this is why business is part of God's strategy to keep the world functioning. I am a Christian. I'm a believer, if you want to call me that way. But you see, prayer is not as powerful as business. And that is why we are failing to bring the kingdom down. Why? Because we think prayer is more powerful than business. No, we must teach more business than prayer on earth. Why? Because what sustains the earth is not prayer. What sustains the earth is business. See, Apple as a company, they don't pray. But because they understand this principle, they have successfully done it. Oh my God, these guys have built a community of raving fans across the globe. A community of raving fans. They say they are in the business of acquiring customers. What does that mean? They understand this principle. That's why they're in the business of building more connections, of building relationships. For them, relationship is more important than solving the problem. Relationship, they're in the business of building more and better relationship. So this is the blueprint of what God wants us to do. God wants us to provide for one another's needs through relationships. And this is where business comes in, because genuinely, apart from relation between me and my wife and me and my kids, the other genuine relationship I can have with you is through business. Believe me, I have great business friends who are closer than brothers right now, because they are, the relationship came out of business. My clients are my close friends. We have relationship with them. The boundaries are very clear and the relationship is very sweet. So if we keep on maintaining this idea that, wanting a lot of money is greed, this is false thinking. Because the virtue of service is not compromised by the level of monetary reward from doing so. So if I gain a lot of monetary reward from a lot of service, does it now compromise my service? No, in fact, it is enhanced by the big monetary reward for doing so. If I gain more money, then I am going to serve more. Then I'm going to serve better. So you cannot connect and serve more and better people without making more money. So you can serve better with more money than with less money. Unless you're going to operate like Jesus, who is operating on miracles. You got 5,000, you fed them. But that's not, he did not make that his norm. It wasn't that every day people were just sitting and Jesus was just feeding them. No, with miracles. So miracles not supposed to sustain us. It's just an event. It is just, something that God can, when your back's against the wall and that kind of thing. So let us therefore be more intentional on building our relationship capital, rather than just solving people's problems. You cannot now say, for me, I am just going to hide somewhere and create great product. True, even when you create those great products, you still need to be so good at connecting with people. Because for you to solve people's problems, you must in fact first connect to learn their real problems. That is why your business starts with who before the what. You must first identify your who, so that you connect with that who. You build relationship with that who. Then once you know your who and you're in relationship with your who, then you can know the challenges and how your who is communicating those challenges, so that you can bring out your product to address them. And you still do not address them as selling to them, but you address them because now you know they want to make that decision, and you just persuade them to make that decision that they already want because of their reasons. And that is what makes selling beautiful, than getting somebody because I have my product and you're trying to trick and turn their back to buy because, I have a solution, please, 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 please. No, that's not how business works. Business is a result of connections, is a result of relationships. So in a world today where products are everywhere, it is the power of your relationship, the skill that you've developed to connect with other people that's going to separate the boys from the men. That's the truth. That's the truth. So build more and better relationship to make more money. And this means you have to operate with the essence of God. I mean, in building relationships, you have to come with the character. You have to come with integrity. You have to come with love in all your business dealing. And once, if you can operate like that and build genuine relationships, that is where money comes from. So if you want more money, then be intentional in building a more genuine relationships, not relationships where you are hiding certain things behind, where you have some plans and some people don't understand your next move. No, it has to be genuine relationship. Why? Because you love your clients. If you can do that, you're operating from a place of character, you are operating from a place of integrity, you are operating from a place of love, then relationship is going to be genuine, and then you're going to serve more people, and then guess what? You will be able to make more money. That's why I say money is not a reward of solving problems. Money is a reward of building relationships. Thank you. Let me see in my next video.